So let's just talk about Passport.js. So the Passport.js is very popular middleware and it is used for the authentication purpose. So it allows to integrate with various authentication strategies. Like an example, we can use the local strategy with the username and password, and also we can use OAuth and many more. First of all, you have to install that. So npm install passport, and also we have to install passport local. For local strategies, we should also install express session, and let's now install all of these packages. So we have done with the installation. So first of all, let's import passport. So require passport, and let's now import the local strategy. So we have to import passport local dot strategy. So also we're gonna use the session. So require express session. So we're done with all the imports. So let's now work with all the middleware setup. So first of all, we're gonna use express dot URL encoded, and it is used to parse the URL encoded data. So we're gonna use the extended as false, and next we're gonna register the express session. So here we're just gonna configure the secret. So the secret key is my key, and resave false, save uninitialized, we're gonna make it false. And next we're gonna initialize passport. So passport dot initialize, and now we're gonna use passport session. So we are done with all the middleware setup. So because here we're not gonna use any kind of real database, so here we're just gonna create one dummy user database. This will locally store here. So const users. So here in the array we have 2 user details, and this will work as a database. So let's now define the local strategy. Passport dot use, create one new local strategy. This will take one callback method with the username and the password, and done. So this is taking 3 parameters. Now here inside, so we're gonna check inside the users array. So users dot find, and here we're gonna check. So we're gonna check if the username matches with the username that is passed in the parameter, and also we're gonna check if the user password matches with the password. Now we're gonna check. So if we do not get any valid user, in that case we're just gonna return. So we're gonna pass null, we're gonna return false, and also we're gonna return the optional message invalid user. Now this is the case when we do not find the valid user. Now if we do find the user, in that case we're gonna return the done function with the null, means there is no error, return the user that we have found. So we are done with the local strategy. So let's now serialize the user to the session. So we have to use passport dot serialize user, pass the callback method with the user and the done. So here we're gonna use the done function because there is no error, so we're gonna pass null, and then we're gonna pass the user ID. So this function basically saves the user ID in the session so that the passport can remember the user in subsequent request. So whenever the user logs in successfully, the passport will call this function, and this function will decide what data from this user object will be stored in the session. So in this case we are storing this user.id. So after that we have to deserialize. So we have to deserialize user from the session. So we have to use passport.deserialize user, and this will take the ID and done. So this deserialize user basically taking the ID from the session. So here we have stored the user ID in the session. Now the deserialized user will get the ID and the done, and this function will basically going to find the corresponding user object that is in the database, and it makes it available in the request so that the user stays logged in. So let's just find the user from the database by using this ID. So we're gonna look inside the users array dot find. We're gonna match the user dot ID with the ID that is in the session store, and now we're gonna call the done function, and because there is no error, so we're gonna pass null, and we're gonna pass the full user object from the database. So the purpose of this deserialize user function is to retrieve the full user object from the database based on the information stored in the session. So in this case the ID of the user is stored in the session. So it is using that ID and it is retrieving the full user object. So let's now define some simple login route /login. So here we are passing one simple HTML login form which will have the username and the password and one submit button. So whenever we click on the submit button, this will create a post request to the /login route. So let's now create that. So we're gonna create one post request to the /login to handle that route. So here we're basically going to authenticate the user. So we have to use the passport authenticate function. So passport.authenticate, and here we're gonna use the local strategy. And now if we have one successful authentication, then we're gonna redirect to the route /profile. Otherwise, if the authentication fails, in that case we're gonna redirect to the login page so that the user can log in again. So let's now define this profile route. So app.get/profile, and here we're just gonna basically check request dot is authenticated. So if the user is authenticated, in that case we're gonna send the response hello and then the username. So request dot user dot username, and we're gonna say welcome to Express tutorial. Otherwise we're gonna redirect to the login route so that the user can log in again. So here first of all we have defined the local strategy, and then we're serializing the user. So we are storing the user ID in the session store, and then we are just deserializing user. That means we are getting the ID of the user and we are retrieving the full user object. And after that we have defined the login route, and this will create one post request to the /login. So we have defined a post request to this /login route to authenticate the user with the local strategy. So if that is successful, in that case we're gonna redirect to /profile. Otherwise we're gonna redirect to /login so that the user can log in again. And then we have defined the route /profile. If the authentication is successful, we're gonna print the user's name along with the welcome message. Otherwise we're gonna redirect to the login page. So let's now test that. So first of all, let's just start the server nodemon index. So let's just go to the route localhost 3000 /login. So you can see we have the login form. Let's now enter the username and password. Username is Sam and the password is 123. So click on login. So you can see we have successfully logged into the profile route, and we have the username along with the welcome message. And also we can define one route to log out the user. So app.get/logout. So we have to use request.logout, and this will take one error parameter. So if there is any error, in that case we're gonna return. Otherwise we're gonna response and we're gonna redirect to the login page. So here if we go to /logout, so you can see we are redirected back to the login page. So this is the way we can use Passport.js in our application, and it simplifies the process of adding authentication to the application. And here also we can use different strategies. Here we are using the local strategy, but also we can use the OAuth and so many other authentication. So hope you understand the concept. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.